On this week's episode of A Drier Dose of Disney, Jared shares how to maximize your score on the Buzz Lightyear rides.
Welcome to this week's episode of A Drier Dose of Disney. I'm your host, Jared Dreyer, and today we are going to be telling you how to maximize your score on the Buzz Lightyear rides at both Disneyland and at Magic Kingdom and Disney World. But before we do that, we do want to ask, wherever you're listening to this podcast, or if you're watching us on YouTube, go ahead and click that subscribe button. That way you're going to get this content delivered into your inbox each and every single week. And season 4, we're in season 4 right now, is our biggest season yet. We have some great tips and tricks that are out there. We kicked off this season with a really great episode about what to do and not to do in the parks. We also did our How to Go to Disney for Almost Free episode now for the general public, the Butterbeer episode, and we loaded our biggest tip or trick to the Patreon page for our subscribers there. So if you would like to get that biggest Disney trick we've ever given out to our audience, you're going to want to click that button down there for Patreon, and you're going to want to become a subscriber at our top tier. And the reason we put this at our top tier is because it is that good of a secret. And number two, a lot of the people that support this show would do a month or two and watch our episodes that are over there, and then they would unsubscribe so that it wasn't a recurring fee. So this way, we're going to do it on the top tier. You only have to pay. Once you get in there, you're going to get the link to that video. You can watch it. And then if you wanted to unsubscribe, you can. But that way, you're going to be able to get the best Disney tip or trick out there for just a single donation to that Patreon page. So definitely check us out in the links below. And then, of course, we've got the Drier Dose of Disney condo. You can see I'm back in Denver today. We've been back for a couple of weeks now that we've come back from Orlando, and our condo is in full swing. We just had the kitchen completely refinished and redone. We did the backsplash ourselves, so we're really excited about it. You can check out the pictures down in our links in our description below. But we want to encourage you, if you're listening to this podcast, go stay at our condo when you're out there. You're going to stay where we stay. We're only a couple miles, only actually 2 exits away from the Disney parks. We're a little bit further from Universal, but it's a ton of fun to be in Orlando. So check that out. And then our I Can Do This All Day gear is out there on our Etsy page as well. So go check that out. I wore my shirt to the Disney parks quite a few times this summer, and every time I was out there, I got comments on it, and everybody really loved it. So we want to encourage you, get that I Can Do This All Day tip of the day, a shirt and designs out there. And it doesn't have like our podcast logo on it or anything. So it's just a fun shirt to wear, and you're going to get lots of comments on it. So today, this episode is all about winning. And I know some of you guys are probably pretty competitive out there, and I'm going to teach you how to win at Buzz Lightyear. If you don't know this about me, if you go to my Strength Finders, competition is in my top 5. I'm very competitive. I love playing games. I love trivia, and I love beating other people at it. So I am highly competitive. And for me, it was all about winning, and I wanted to maximize my score on these rides. Now, they are different. So we're going to take you through each ride and how to maximize your score on each one, because the tactics are a little bit different. So I'm going to tell you, we're starting with Disney World Magic Kingdom, and this is going to be Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin. And then the next part of it will go to Disneyland and Anaheim, and we'll do Buzz Lightyear Astro Blasters. And we're going to talk about that as well. So you may want to skip forward or back in the podcast or on the video, depending on where you're at. And what I recommend is listen to this again when you're in line, in queue for these rides. That way it'll be in your short-term memory. You're going to remember it as soon as you get on the ride. And I'm going to tell you, you only need to remember a couple things to maximize your score. So when you get onto these rides, do know that the maximum score is 999,999. So 999,999 points. You cannot break 1,000,000. But when you're coming to the end of the ride and you're about ready to get off, it's going to give you a score chart, and it's going to tell you where you fall. And only those that get 999 perfect across the board are your Galactic Heroes, which is what obviously Buzz Lightyear is. And now myself, I'm a Galactic Hero at both Disneyland and Anaheim, as well as Disney World out there in Orlando. And I will tell you, I personally think getting the perfect score out in Orlando is a little bit easier than getting it in Disneyland, but they're not too difficult to do. So I'm going to walk you through that. So obviously we're going to start with the Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin in Magic Kingdom. So this is located in Tomorrowland. I do recommend, one thing that we learned this last summer while we were out there is you're going to do your virtual queue for Tron. If you're really good at virtual queue and you do it right at 7 a.m. and you have an early group, you're going to be called right at the rope drop time in the morning. but you do get an hour to do it. So what we like to do is we will go rope drop Buzz Lightyear because the wait time's always under 5 minutes, and we will go ride that, and then we'll go do Tron after that since our window is about an hour. And the reason we do that is the queue for Buzz Lightyear is outside, and within a couple hours, it is up usually to 45 minutes to an hour. And that's due to how many Lightning Lane people they let through, which I completely disagree with. And I've written Disney many times just because they overwhelm that ride with Lightning Lane. But it's a great ride. It's a lot of fun. So do it early in the morning and you're going to be able to get on really quick. Now, when you go through there, obviously you're going to go through the queue. They're going to explain the ride to you. But this is a continuous motion ride, which means you're going to walk on the conveyor belt to get into your car. And from there, it's just going to keep going. So this is similar to Spaceship Earth, the Haunted Mansion, Ariel's Journey, the Little Mermaid one. So there's a lot of rides that are now this moving queue, which actually helps get a lot of people onto these rides. But that's how this one's going to work. Now in Disney World, one key component is the guns are fixed to the car, which means you can't lift it up. You can't change the angle or anything much on there other than just to move it back and forth and up and down just a little bit within its little holster there. So know that it is fixed to the car. In Disneyland, this is different. We're going to talk about that in just a minute here. And then the cart itself is going to start turning and rotating randomly when you're going through the ride. I think it's pretty annoying. What I recommend is if you're going for the perfect score, even if you have a kid with you, let them know you're going to control the joystick. So that way you can always be pointing in the right direction. And if it's a kid, they're not going to mind. They're just going to be shooting at everything anyways. So make sure that you're in control of the car. We do recommend in Orlando that you sit on the left side of the car. It makes it just a touch easier on the very first target you're going to be going for. But after that one, it doesn't make any difference whatsoever. My next tip in Orlando is you want to hold the button down the entire time. You do not have to hit the button to shoot. You just hold it down and just go shoot. And that way your thumb's not going to get tired. You're not going to miss any opportunities. And you actually get points for every time that it shoots. You definitely want to hold that down just to help get you a little bit of extra points there as that goes through. Now, what I recommend is as soon as it starts, as soon as your gun powers on, you want to aim at a dark space, usually because you're going through that little tunnel at the beginning, and you want to find out where your gun is shooting at. Again, you're not going to look down the sights of this gun. You're not going to have like a normal aiming thing. So it's just kind of general motion. Once you see where your laser's at, you're going to get an idea of how you move it and what you're going to be shooting at. So you always want to identify that right out of the gates, that your laser maybe shoots a little bit to the right, maybe shoots a little bit to the left of what you're aiming for. There are 3 targets that you're going to be looking for throughout this game. Okay. And there's actually 4, but 2 of them are the same. So I'll explain that. But there's 3. All I want you to do is just remember 3 different things when you're going through the Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger spin in Orlando. Okay. The first target is it's at the very beginning. So right when you're starting the ride, and this is the one where it helps to be on the left side of the car just a little bit. But when you're going into the very first room, there is a robot off to the left, and you can actually see him before you get into the room, which is why it helps to be on the left. And he's got 2 hands, and you want to shoot his left hand on the inside of his left hand. He's got a target there. That target is worth 100,000 points every time you hit it. So again, you want to be holding down your button and just hit it as many times as you can as you're coming up the ramp towards the robot. This is why it helps to have the joystick in your controls, because as you're shooting at him, the car is going to start rotating a different direction just a little bit, and you're going to want to turn the car to steer it to keep yourself on track for that left hand and hitting that target. Now, traditionally, the hand does move, which makes it even harder to hit. This last summer, it was stationary. I don't know if it's going to stay stationary. If it does, that helps a ton just because you can just key in on it and just hold down that button and hit it 1, 2, 3, 4. Usually you can hit it 5 or 6 times before you're going to pass it if it's not moving. If it is moving, the other hand's going to get in the way and you're going to be lucky to get it 2 or 3 times, but it's worth 100,000 points each time. So it's 10% of your score every time you hit it. So definitely you're going to want to shoot that on the inside of the left hand. Once you get past that hand and you're no longer able to see the hand, you're going to want to rotate towards the right. And in the room you're going into, you're going to see a big volcano on the back wall. There is a target on the top part of the volcano. So it's still on the volcano. It's not above it. It's on the volcano. It's up by the lava. And you want to shoot that target. This target, you're going to see not only through this whole room, but you're going to see it for a long time. So you're going to want to keep steering your car to be aimed at that target as you make your way through the whole room. That one's worth 25,000 points every time you hit it. So you want to hit this thing a lot. And I can tell you that there's been times that I've hit this thing maybe 15 to 20 times as I go through that big room. And I just keep steering just to stay on target, hitting the top of the volcano. Again, 25,000 points a hit. At this point, usually I'm at about 600,000 or more going into the next room, which is where Zurg's ship is. Now, this is where it gets really different from Disneyland. In Disneyland, if you've ever played that one, or in just a second, I'm going to talk about Disneyland, Zurg has points on his body. In Disney World, that is not the case, okay? So for you, you want to get the points by shooting the base of Zurg's ship. So when I say the base, it's the dead center bottom target, and that one is worth 100,000 points per hit as well. So if you're not at 9999 at this point after those 3 targets, do know that you're going to have another attempt at a second Zurg ship, and it has the same target on the bottom center. And that one's worth a little bit less of points, but that's going to help you finish that journey to 999999 points. Okay. So when you're going through that, that's why I said there's 4 targets. So you have the robot's left hand, the top of the volcano, the base of Zurg's ship is the 3rd, and then you get a second attempt at a base of Zurg's ship for a little bit less points. But you really only need to remember the 3. So the robot hand, the volcano, and Zurg's ship, the very base of it. Now, once you get to the end of the ride, you should be very easily at 999999 points, okay? And I don't know if I said enough 9s. I'm tired of saying 9. So you should be maxed out and able to become a Galactic Hero. Once you're done with the ride and you come off and you go into the gift shop, if you go to the counter and you let them know you had a perfect score, they will verify, they have a computer there, and then they will give you a Galactic Hero sticker. There is Zurg in a jail there. I recommend put on your sticker, take a picture with Zurg, but that way you're going to have the highest score in your group. Now, let's go over to Disneyland, okay? So at Disneyland, it is a little bit different, and I'm going to take you through the differences. This one is called Buzz Lightyear Astro Blasters. This one, the gun is detachable. That is a huge advantage. That helps so much because even if your cart is not positioned in the right way, you can turn your body and position your body in the right direction. That changes everything. That makes this one a lot easier to find the better targets and to shoot them versus the one in Orlando. But they did make it more difficult at Disneyland. And the reason they made it more difficult is because you have different targets that are throughout the place, but they are different values depending on whether or not they're lit up and what shape they are in. So here's how Disneyland works, okay? So here's what you want to be looking for. You want to shoot at Disneyland triangles and diamonds. If it is not a triangle and not a diamond, don't bother. It's worth 2 little points. You're going to burn up too much time. So you want to be looking around the room. Use both your eyes. Look every direction for triangles and diamonds. Triangles are worth 10,000 points and diamonds are worth 5,000 points. But the key is when they light up, what I mean by light up is they get a lit border around them. They are worth 10 times the points. So a triangle that has a border around it is worth 100,000 points every time you hit it. So just like in Orlando, what I recommend is as soon as you get on this ride and you start going, figure out the aim on your gun, especially since you're holding it. Is it shooting a little to the left, a little to the right, maybe a little up or down? Figure out where your laser is hitting, and then you're just looking for triangles and diamonds, and you're shooting at them. Now, when they light up, you definitely want to hit them because they only light up for one shot. So if other people are shooting at them, you want to be the one to make sure that you get it. For the triangles, that's 100,000 points. For the diamond, that's 50,000 points when it's lit up. But on this ride, so again, triangles and diamonds, when you get to Zurg, you want to shoot underneath his chest piece. So he's got a chest piece right in the center of his suit. You want to shoot just right underneath that in the center, and there's a target in there. You can't see it. It will never light up. That one is worth 50,000 points every single time that you hit it. So when you go in there, you just want to be blasting at his chest as much as you can right underneath his armor there. If Zurg is facing away from you, because this is the challenge on this one, is Zurg will move side to side. He spins. What you want to do is if he's facing away from you, shoot his blaster, his gun, and he will immediately turn towards you, giving you the opportunity to shoot him in the chest multiple times before potentially he moves again. I will suggest don't tell other people that trick in your group because if they're in a car or 2 ahead of you, they will continually be shooting his blaster and turning him away from you, and then you're going to be fighting to get those points. Now, maybe your triangles and diamonds were lit up as you go through the ride, and you got those points already. so you may not need to worry about it. But if you need them at the end when you're shooting Zurg, you want to shoot him underneath the chest piece, shoot his gun to make him turn towards you. Now, when you're going through this ride in Disneyland, I also want to encourage you, there are like jack-in-the-boxes that pop up. Usually that's where you're going to find your triangles and diamonds. So you want to shoot those boxes to get them to open. And when they do open as lit targets, so you get a great opportunity to get some very quick points when you're shooting at those as well. It doesn't hurt if you find a triangle target that's in one of those jack-in-the-boxes, shoot it, it opens, shoot it again, it's going to close, and just repeat the process. Just keep doing it 2 or 3 times to get as many points as possible to get that perfect score on there. Once you get through the ride, if you're at a perfect score of all 9s, again, you can go to the gift shop and go up to the person there and let them know, and you're going to get your Galactic Hero sticker, and you can take a picture there, and you're going to be the hero of your group. With that, we wish you a very magical day, and we hope that you have a great time planning your next vacation to Disneyland or Disney World. Again, we've got lots of great tips and tricks out there on our podcast, so definitely listen to all those episodes. We highlight the best restaurants, the best places to go, and we have our place to stay there in Orlando. You can find all that in the links down below in the description of the podcast or on YouTube, and we will talk to you guys next time. Bye-bye.